You're listening to Tech Talk with Ray and Mike. Welcome back. How you doing, Ray?
I'm doing well.
We have a show today.
Yeah? What do you got for us?
We have a show every week, but that's besides the point.
What do you got? What evil do you have lined up today?
It's evil. It's not just evil.
Okay.
It's evil.
Yeah, okay. Let's hear it.
So, I'm sitting with my kids watching Big Hero 6. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
Comic.
Yeah, it's a cartoon.
Yeah.
One of my favorite Disney movies. They've taken like Pixar animation and mixed it with like anime.
Yeah, okay.
So, and they've taken San Francisco and Tokyo and turned it into San Fran Tokyo. San Francisco. So, and it's really cool. If you need to watch it.
Okay.
It's cool. Okay, so
on my list.
The main character hero is a kid genius who he wants to join a robotics school.
Yeah.
So he invents these little robots that are controlled by a transmitter on a headband that he made.
Oh, okay.
And so all of these tiny millions of robots work together to build stuff, be innovative, and
sweet.
That's pretty sweet. That's pretty cool.
Microbots.
So that's what he calls them, microbots. So then I'm thinking,
yeah, I've heard this.
Yes. So I'm thinking, what if they got a mind of their own and they, almost like Gulliver travel, where they, take him somewhere against his will. And so I thought, I'm going to talk to Ray about this. Is this possible for robots to take over the world?
Yeah. I think, well, no. No.
No.
Could you be carried away with
a bunch of
nanobots? Microbots?
Yeah. I guess they would be considered nanobots, or I don't know.
Yeah.
But no, you don't think so?
His were large enough that you could see them with the naked eye, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So that's more of a microbot. Yeah. So the real fascinating thing is the nanobot.
So what's a nanobot?
Well,
it's, I guess, nano meaning uber small.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So basically, 1/billionth of a meter. That's a nanometer. And so the idea was first conceived in 1959. That's a long time ago.
59?
Yeah.
For nanobots?
Yes.
Were they called nanobots?
They were. And there's a lot of other names. Nanoids, nanites. Nanites. That sounds like a mite.
Sounds like a bed bug.
Yeah. Nanomachines, There's just a nanorobot. There's a lot of different terms for them. People come up with these terms.
Okay. But 1959 is when that term actually came about.
It was coined, and the concept was put forth in a scientific paper. Could you build a robot at the molecular level? And of course, all theoretical. Even today, very theoretical. So your kind of question, could you be carried away against your will?
Can it take me over?
Yeah, like Gulliver's Travels. Can they tie you down, take you over?
Like the Terminator, but nano.
Yeah. So I would let's get into it. Let's find out basically if that's possible. I'll think it through here in a minute.
Okay. So how big are they? You said.
Yeah. So they're a billionth of a meter. So a meter, for people living in the United States, we don't use meters.
Yeah, what's a meter?
Yeah.
I barely know what an inch is.
Right. So a meter is 39 inches. So if you got the video, you're looking at a meter right there. Wow. So that's about 3 inches longer than a yardstick. Does anyone ever use a yardstick anymore?
Just to cut big pieces of paper.
Right.
Okay. Or wood.
You got like a yardstick sticking up on or sitting up on your shelf somewhere, and you pull it off from time to time.
So that's almost a meter. A yardstick is almost
36 inches. So that's about that long. And you got 3 more inches. That's a meter. Okay. So chop that up into 1 billion slices. And that's how tiny a nanobot would be.
So you're talking microscopic.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, in other terms that you can think of, a micron, everyone's heard of a micron, that's a millionth of a meter.
Okay.
So what we're talking about is a billionth of a meter. Okay. So that's 1,000 times smaller. It turns out you cannot even see a micron. The human hair is like 50 microns, 40, 50 microns thick.
So if I had a nanobot, that's a billionth of a meter.
Yeah.
How long would it take for it to walk across my piece of hair?
That's a good question. Let's kind of work through the scale of things. So let's take the human body, okay, and try to scale it down to, we're like 2 meters. Really, that would be a tall person, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Really tall. It'd be a giant, right?
Yeah.
So we're not really 2 meters tall.
But we're close.
Right. So it's kind of in the meter range that we can talk about.
Okay.
So let's say we're 1.5 meters, whatever. I don't know how many inches that is.
That's a lot of inches.
So try to scale our size, human size, down to something that is 1/billionth of a meter. So it's 1 billion times smaller than us, right? Mm-hmm. So if you think about, how fast the human body travels, walks, unaided by, automobile, jet, airplane, just by your own 2 feet with your Converse sneaks,
Right.
How fast can you walk? So most people walk, I'd say, in the 3 to 5 mile per hour range. 5 miles an hour is fast, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty fast.
If you're cooking along at 5, you're stretching your legs. So still, if you can walk 5 miles an hour, that's, you do the math. It's like 8 billion microns. That's a lot of microns. A micron being 1/millionth of a meter.
Right.
And so imagine, a nanobot. They're 1/billionth of a meter. And so they might be able to walk, if you do the scaling down from how fast a human walks to how fast a nanobot could walk, they might be able to walk, let's say, 8 microns in an hour. Okay?
Okay.
So going back to the thickness of a human hair being 50 microns, 50 divided by 8, they might be able to cross the thickness of a human hair in 6 to 12 hours. So
they're that small.
Pluck a hair.
I don't have any.
You don't have a lot to pluck.
Take one off my chin.
Put it down on the paper, and you got to kind of strain your eye to see it. That's 50 microns. So they might be able to traverse that entire distance in, let's say, 6 to 8 hours before running out of fuel. See, the thing about the nanobot is you got to power them just like a human body. They have to have fuel, and so they're going to run out of fuel, and then they just die, right?
Right.
So if you had enough fuel, they might be able to carry something, or maybe just carry themselves across the width of a human hair. That's pretty much all they're worth as far as their navigation and locomotion. Pretty darn small. So typically what you're talking about is, again, building these at the molecular level. We're talking about, 10 to 20 atoms across. And that's how small a billionth of a meter is. It's measured in atoms. And so if you're building these from a molecular level, obviously molecules having multiple atoms, atoms comprising many molecules, you build these out of parts at the molecular level. So what kind of parts can you build a nanobot out of?
Yeah, so that was going to be my question. How would you
build them? You don't use an erector set.
Man.
Remember back in the 60s and 70s, the erector sets?
I remember the erector set, yeah.
I remember getting one of those for Christmas once, and I was so happy. Just for the listeners here, for their edification, the erector set had, remember the little steel girders? They were like 6, 8, 12 inches long. They had
together screws and bolts.
Yeah, they had the holes in them, and you could put them together. They had motors. And you could hook them to the motors, and they could lift things like, lift up a little box. Or
we used to have one that was a Ferris wheel.
Yeah,
and
turn the Ferris wheel.
The wheel.
Right. Lift up maybe like a train bridge or something, and it would, turn the motor on, and they would go. And so, as kids, building things out of erector sets was the awesome. And
to a lot of kids still today, it is.
Are they using erector sets still?
Yeah.
Oh, they came back then.
We just were looking at one to buy for my son.
Are they all plastic?
Because he's destructive. No, they're still metal.
Oh, they're still metal.
They're still metal.
So back in the day when I had them, I remember they used to rust. They were sharp. You could cut yourself. You needed a tetanus shot to play with them. I mean, awesome. They were dangerous. But so I guess they must have gone through a few decades of just silence until they came back.
Yeah, they're back.
Everyone wanted them.
Yeah.
So they were like the building blocks, right? They were the little parts that you would build things. And so if you think about building at the molecular level, you're not using an erector set. There are no known bolts, nuts, little girders that you bolt together. You don't build a little robot like you would today. Now, robots are getting big. Right. And if you've seen them on YouTube, they do all sorts of cool things now.
I love Robot Wars. Have you ever seen Robot Wars? Right. Oh, that show is sweet. But they took it off of Netflix. Pure
destruction.
So I can't watch it. But, man, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
I
digress.
Sure, yeah,
right.
Robot Wars is great.
But so, they're all built by little components, right? Little,
they're all nuts and bolts.
Nuts and bolts, steel. You don't have that at the molecular level.
Right.
All you have is some molecules that you maybe can control. This is still sort of in the theoretical.
Right. Because these don't exist yet.
Right.
We know of.
They don't really exist. There are a few examples of being able to control some bacteria, be able to herd them using magnetics.
Okay.
But still, you don't build yet. You don't build them. There are no things to click together and build them. But the theory is that you could use or scavenge plant proteins.
Plant proteins?
Yeah. Think of plants today. They have a motor. Many plants have motors where they will open their flowers in the morning.
It's like a Venus flytrap.
Yeah, they have a motor to snap shut to basically capture their prey.
So is what you're saying is we're going to start growing?
Yeah, growing.
Nanobots?
Right, or growing the parts to be able to scavenge those parts, to be able to use plant protein molecules, the motor portion of those. And all we need is moving parts. And God has created those in many, many different ways. There's amoebas with little flagella to make them swim. If you could scavenge the parts of that to attach to your little, robot, you could perhaps, theoretically, build a little robot that would perform some task. There's a lot that goes into this, actually. There's a lot of design issues that are still being considered and thought of, very, very theoretical. You've got basically 5 or 6 things you've got to figure out. You've got to be able to sense, with if the robot encounters its objective, it's got to be able to sense that and know, okay, I've reached my objective.
Right.
I'm here to do something.
Right.
So it knows I'm here. Of course, you've got to have some sort of locomotion to get you there. Right, so swimming or a motor to swish along,
swim up something.
Yes, or crawl. We talked about it. The nanobot crawling across the human hair,
right,
taking 6 to 12 hours to
crazy.
do that. They've got to have some sort of navigation. to be able to go left, right, up, down. I've got to be able to go in a certain direction, a known direction, a programmed direction, somehow to be able to navigate to their...
So they need some form of intelligence.
Right. And so not only do you need a motor of some sort, you need some intelligence.
Okay.
You need communication between the nanobots. The idea that you have a swarm of nanobots that could all perform an operation as a large collective body. That's kind of an interesting idea. That the nanobot is not an individual thing that performs something. It's actually the swarm. The
swarm of nanobots.
Yeah, you put 1 billion of them together, and they all go and they do a job. Like they carry you away.
Tie you to the ground and carry you away.
Tie you down, yeah, and carry you the width of a human hair. It's like, oh, okay.
And then they run out of power and drop you.
Right.
And
then, okay, I was carried away against my will.
for the length of a human hair.
Yeah. So, there's a lot that really goes into, and there's manipulation. Let's say you build a nanobot for some noble purpose, maybe to kill cancer cells.
Okay.
So that nanobot has to find the cancer cell. It has to sense, this is a cancer cell, that one over there is not.
So it needs to know the difference.
That's a sensing operation, right?
Right.
You have the locomotion to get you there, the navigation. You've got the communication. You're there. Now what do you do?
Right.
You got to kill it. You got to poke it in the eye. You got to stick something into it. You got to deflate it. Whatever it takes to kill a cell. You got to inject a poison. I don't know, whatever. But you got to do it selectively. You can't kill the good cells.
Right.
So that's a lot of intelligence.
Yeah.
So
at that scale.
Yeah, right. You've basically got a few molecules floating around that are intelligent enough to perform this kill operation.
Right.
And then they die. They go away and they're flushed away in the bloodstream. So the idea that they could kill cancer cells, fat cells, inject, or ingest.
New form of liposuction.
Yeah, so I grab my nanobots here and open it up.
And swallow them like a pill.
Oh, I've just lost weight.
Pass the cake.
Yeah, now I can eat a cake. These are some of the things that people want to do with them. Clean out arteries. You get your arteries all clogged up
because they're small enough that they wouldn't block anything. Or...
Exactly. I mean, they're maybe a little bigger than the human cell.
Wow.
And they might be able to gouge out or, just do their part. You put 1 million of them in there and they all do their bit.
They take care of blood clots.
Right. They go in, they clean something out, and then they just naturally die. And they're so small, they just go out in the bloodstream and out the waste, and you're done. So
and you never even know.
You don't even know where they're at. You never see them. They're so small. You can't even see a micron, and they're 1,000 times smaller than that. So they just go out.
So I see why it would be, because they're so small, I see why they're not made yet, because it's complicated. You have to pretty much grow them,
right,
to make them work,
or scavenge from existing creations.
But it's probably not too far-fetched in today's technology,
right? And so if you go out to YouTube, you'll see a video, YouTube and other places, but you'll see a video of some bacteria being guided with a electromagnetic force. And so you have some push buttons. You can look at it with the microscope and you can see them down in there. And these are a little above the nanobot level, but they're trying to prove the technology and starting to go in that direction. And so there you have some buttons and you push the buttons left and right, and you can look down the microscope and see these bacteria kind of swimming left and right based on your input. So you are controlling them. That's the whole idea, to be able to have some kind of human controllable criteria, some way of controlling these things, or to have them autonomous so they can go off and, go to their objective, whatever that objective is.
So these can be used for both good and evil.
Well, yeah, I suppose. But
we shouldn't go there.
Yeah, right. Now, of course, the next evolution after that people begun to speculate on is then, could they reproduce?
That was going to be my next question.
Could they scavenge these molecules themselves and assemble another nanobot with the same functionality? That's a lot of intelligence. That's a lot more than just going to a cancer cell and poking it in the nucleus.
Right.
You know?
Right.
That's scavenging and building and constructing. You need a lot of motors, a lot of flexibility, but the idea is out there. Could they reproduce?
And would they take over the world then?
All right. Yes. There's the theory of you've heard of the gray goo scenario.
I've never heard of the gray goo scenario.
Okay. Here's the gray goo scenario. Gray goo scenario is all based on nanobots. And the idea starts with the idea that they could reproduce.
Okay.
And the second part is that they could eat up something. Let's say they kill cells. And they turn the cell into a little tiny pile of gray goo, right?
Okay.
So in this theory, this scenario, you've got the nanobots up to their evil, and they're reproducing by the billions, and they're killing off. They've gone off the reservation. They're killing off everything.
Okay.
They've lost their programming, and they're killing. And everything they kill, every cell that they kill, turns into a little pile of goo. Well, there's billions and trillions and quadrillion, and it isn't long before they've killed everything
in the world.
In the world, and the whole world turns into one big pile of mud. That's the gray goo scenario. All brought on by nanobots that just went crazy.
Because of the evil humans who
created them, programmed them, put in the Y2K bug. So yeah, that's the idea. So could you be carried away by nanobots? I think the answer is no.
One, because they're not even invented yet, right?
Yeah, but they could turn you into a pile of goo.
They can't, gray goo, if that. So here's the moral of the story.
Yeah.
Don't invent nanobots.
Don't mess with it. Don't go there.
They're going to ruin the world.
Right.
And kill us all and take it over, and then we're going to be like Wall-E.
If you're a technology person listening to this, we're telling you no. Don't go there.
Just say no to nanobots.
Yeah.
Right. Nancy Reagan would say that.
Let the evil professors go there.
Yeah, like who would be an evil professor these days? Stephen Hawking.
Ooh, is he evil? Nah.
No?
He's kind of a good guy, right?
Is he a good guy?
I think so.
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I don't know him.
I don't know him either.
I think he's good, though. I think he's on the side of good.
Oh, is he on the side of good? I was just trying to think of some scientist person. Oh, gosh.
Ooh, I heard
that
a pop.
That, folks, is what you call feedback.
Ooh.
So, I just thought he was a scientist guy. I don't even know who he is.
Yeah. He's just a really smart guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I think he's on the side of good, though.
Yeah, maybe he can make good nanobots then.
He'd be the guy to do it.
He would be the guy to do it. So, hey, you're listening to Tech Talk with Ray and Mike. We are powered by Standard Time, a time tracking app that will help you with your business. It does more than time tracking. It helps you organize and pay invoices and keep your employees happy. Check it out at stdtime.com. That's all we have time for, because now I'm going to have nightmares of robots carrying me away, turning me into gray goo. So, but check in often with us. We are on iTunes. We're on Google Play. We're on YouTube. and we're on stdtime.com. There you can download all the stuff and learn more about Standard Time and what we can do for your business. So tune in next time, and we will catch you later. See ya.